Back in August 2021, Microsoft announced the general availability of Windows 365. This is basically a Windows PC in the cloud, giving you access to a powerful Windows 10 or 11 PC that you can access from anywhere and from any device. In today's video, I'm gonna try out Windows 365. Now, this isn't meant to be a setup or tutorial video. I've purposefully read as little as possible as I can on Windows 365 to see what the experience is like for an unbiased and inexperienced user. This will hopefully allow me to give you my unbiased, unfiltered opinion. So, let's roll the intro and dive straight in. The idea behind Windows 365 is simple and also not new. You have a Windows 10 or 11 computer running in the cloud, which you can access from anywhere and on any device as long as you have an internet connection and a web browser. This means you don't even need to use Microsoft Remote Desktop. You can use the PC straight from your web browser. By signing in to your Microsoft account, you'll have your files, settings, wallpaper, and so on when you launch the cloud machine, assuming you use OneDrive and associated services. And obviously these will even sync back to any Windows PC you use locally. Now the idea here is that this is a service for organizations, and Microsoft offers two different tiers, which are a business subscription for organizations with 300 employees or less, and an enterprise subscription for larger organizations. Microsoft are calling this a cloud PC. In their own words, the cloud PC draws on the power of the cloud to provide a powerful, simple, and secure full Windows 10 or 11 experience that you can use to empower your workforce regardless of location or device. Windows 365 provides an instant-on boot experience that enables users to stream all their personalized applications, tools, data, and settings from the cloud across any device, including your Windows, Mac, iPad, Android, and coming soon, Linux device. The Windows experience is consistent no matter the device. You can pick up right where you left off because the state of the cloud PC remains the same even when you switch devices. So basically we have a stateful cloud PC in the cloud. So the first thing we'll need to do here is get an account, and you can do so by going to windows365.com. Now, as you can see here, this isn't really meant for individuals, it's meant for businesses or enterprise. They also had a trial program, but at the time of making this video, they had reached capacity, and so trials are no longer available. You can, however, sign up to receive notifications when trials are available again. In my case, I'm going to bite the bullet and go to Windows 365 Business. And from here I can say compare plans and pricing. And as you can see, I get the three pricing options. So basically here, obviously it's showing them to me in euros in my case. You can see that the basic one has two CPUs, 4 gigs RAM, 1 to 8 gig storage. The standard one upgrades you to 8 gig RAM, and the premium upgrades you to 16 gigs of RAM and 4 vCPUs. Now, of course, I'm a poor guy making YouTube videos with only a few subscribers, so I'm gonna go for the standard one. I'm actually not gonna go for the basic, since it has 4 gigs of RAM, and I want to give this thing a fighting chance, and I think 8 gigs of RAM is better. So I'm going to say buy now. Now you can save if you have Windows Hybrid Benefit. No in my case. So here we need to create an account. Okay, so I'm going to type in my email address, and I'll click next. And it says, it looks like you need to create an account. Let's get you started. Set up an account. And here I'll just fill in my personal information. Okay, so now it says that I'll need to choose a domain name. In my case, I'm going to say Tech Guru. Check availability. Yeah, well, of course it isn't. So I'll say Tech Guru Demo. Okie dokie. Now you need to create your user ID and password to sign in to your account. So okay, Tech Guru, and I'll create a password. Okay, so now it says setting up your account, and here I can see how I want to pay. Now, as you can see here, it's up to €41 per user per month. And this is actually before tax. So I don't know exactly why this is the case, but I think it's because what was quoted earlier was the yearly pricing, and I can only be billed monthly. I don't actually see an option to switch to yearly. Not that I would, because I'm just going to delete this account as soon as I'm done with this. So, okay, I guess that will work. Click Add Payment Method. And here I'll just fill in my credit card details. So after taxes here, you can see that this actually works out to €48.38. This just keeps getting more expensive. Okay, so I'm given my user ID, and I guess I'll click Get Started. And okay, your organization doesn't have a subscription to Windows 365. Isn't that lovely? What a great first user experience, Microsoft. Guess I'll refresh. Okay, that's nice.
Moments later.
Okay, so after playing around with some sign-in stuff and refreshing the page a few times, I got here. Welcome to Windows 365, Keith Vassallo, with the world's first cloud PC. Well, that's debatable. Windows 365 is the next step in personal computing, and it says here setting up your cloud PC. So I'm assuming that until this process completes, I won't be able to use the thing. Let's see what happens. Next. A cloud PC is blah blah blah, yada yada yada. What can I do with my cloud PC? A secure place to store and access your apps, files, and documents. Get to it anytime on any supported internet-connected device. Fair enough. Your cloud PC is getting ready. While you're waiting, learn how to get around. Okay, so there's some sort of tutorial here. Okay. So your cloud PC is ready, and yet it says setting up your cloud PC. They need to work on this. It has all the apps you need with no additional setup. Next. Select Open in Browser and sign in with your work account. Fair enough. To see more options, select Settings. Got it. Okay, so this is the dashboard that you get. So here there's some sort of, okay, so this is to download a remote desktop client for Mac, Windows, iOS, and Android. So obviously you can connect to your cloud PC using Microsoft Remote Desktop, but what I'm eager to try is actually connecting through my browser once this thing gets set up. There's options here to manage my organization, download remote desktop, and obviously to get more cloud PCs, add a new user, take the tour, set up a help desk, get help from Microsoft. It's a bit of a weird scrolling interface here, but I guess that's fine. Now the machine is still being set up. If I click on settings, okay, I can restart, reset, rename, and troubleshoot. So I guess I'll pause the video till this thing is set up, and I'll continue from there.
More moments later.
Okay, so it's about 25 minutes later now, and my cloud PC is ready. Okay, so let's go ahead and click Open in Browser. Okay, I'm assuming I have to click here. Allow the remote computer to access the following resources: printers, file transfers, microphone, and clipboard. I'm just going to disable the microphone. I don't want it to interfere with my screen recording, but everything else is fine. And I'll just need to type in the password I set earlier. And okay, we seem to be getting onto Microsoft Windows. All right, and we're on the desktop. Interesting. Your admin needs you to sign in to use Profile 1. Please sign in or switch to a different account. Okay, so this is new. I guess this is normal on business PCs though, which are pre-provisioned. I'll go ahead and click sign in. Microsoft Teams has now popped up for whatever reason. In the meantime, whilst this is all loading, it's looking a little sluggish. Maybe it's just because it's still setting stuff up. But let's see what kind of machine we got ourselves here. So we'll go to settings and we'll go to system here, about. So we have an Intel Xeon Platinum at 2.6 gigahertz. Okay, 8 gigs of RAM, which makes sense. Windows 10 Enterprise with the latest upgrades, I assume. Okay, so that's pretty standard. Let's go to the good old control panel. Let's go to device manager here and see what we have. Okay, so particularly, okay, yeah, well, that's not Microsoft Hyper-V video, Microsoft Remote Display Adapter. So obviously we get no information about the underlying hardware here. I doubt we're gonna be doing any gaming on this thing, but you never know. Other than that, this is irrelevant stuff here. Computer, yeah, pretty much generic here. Audio, Hyper-V, and system devices, we have the usual Hyper-V stuff. So this basically is a virtual machine. We don't really know what is what here. In the meantime, I've been trying to click sign in here, but nothing seems to happen. And yeah, okay, I don't need Microsoft Teams. Yeah, to use Propel One, please sign in. Yeah, sign in and nada, nicht. Let me see if I try and add a profile. Nope, this window is borked. No, it just crashed. Okay, isn't that lovely? Now let's see about getting this thing full screen. So what are these icons? So this is upload a file, unpin navigation bar, enter full screen, settings. Okay, so open that. Okay, so this is pretty cool. It's basically remote desktop in the browser. Let's see if full screen works. Yeah, okay, that does kind of work. It looks a little blurry, but that could be just me. Let's see if Edge has got its head out of its ass. Okay, yes. So that seems to be working. Okay, complete setup. Confirm, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Okay. And we get the normal Microsoft Edge welcome. Okay, so I guess that's the first boot of the machine. If we look at this PC from here, you can see, yep, it's a 128 gig machine. Apparently, you can also upload files directly through here, which is actually quite useful. And other than that, I assume everything, yeah, pretty much is empty and ready for me to start using the system. Okay, so now let's see how capable this thing is at actually running apps. So I'm going to install a few apps, starting with trials of the Adobe suite, which I imagine a business user would be using. And interestingly here, it seems that this cloud PC is somewhere in Ireland, thanks to the auto detection here. Okay, so let's see, start a free trial. Okay, so Photoshop trial is installing. In the meantime, I'm going to try some other stuff here. I'm going to try installing Steam. Not that I expect to be able to game on this thing, but hey, this is Tech Guru, so we're going to have to try. Downloads are pretty fast, though. In the meantime, whilst all that's happening, let's also try and play a YouTube video. Let's see how this works. Interesting. That's an interesting suggestion here. I don't know how that came up, but okay. And let's see if I can play a video and that it's a good experience. Doesn't seem to be the best experience. For one, I don't have any sound. Let's see whether that's something to do with me. Nope. There seems to be no sound coming from this at all, which is interesting. Maybe it's a permissions thing? I have no idea. Maybe we'll try with Microsoft Remote Desktop later and see if it's a better experience. But as you can see here, the frame rate of this video looks choppy, and it's automatically switched to 480p, which is not a good sign. So let's try at least 1080 and take it full screen. Yeah, so as you can see, this is not good. It's really choppy, really not a good experience at all. And interestingly, since I took it full screen in the web browser, when I pressed escape, it escaped out of the browser rather than the window itself. Okay, so this is gonna take some getting used to. So basically what happened, guys, is I pressed escape to get out of full screen, but that took me out of full screen on my Safari browser rather than the browser in my browser, which is interesting. So I guess, I mean, you can use it in a browser in a pinch, but this so far doesn't seem to be particularly well optimized. As you can see, I've gone full screen again here, and yet it stays here. So yeah, okay, that's a thing. Is this thing totally borked now? Yep, nothing seems to be happening. Okay, well, let's try quitting and opening it up again. Okay. And we seem to be back up and running here. Okay. Now, I suspect that at this point, accessing the PC through your web browser is a stopgap solution. It doesn't seem to be very responsive, and it's really laggy, and you saw that when I tried to play the YouTube video. So I'm actually gonna ditch the browser for now, and I'm gonna see whether I can connect using the remote desktop client. So let's go back here, and what we'll do is we'll close it, and then we can hopefully sign in using remote desktop, which, okay. So download remote desktop, access your cloud PC. Okay, so I already have remote desktop here. So I guess I'll need a subscription URL. Copy this URL, in the remote select add workspace and paste it. Okay, copy, workspace, add workspace and paste it. And I'll click add. And I'll need to sign in. Okay, so here it is in Microsoft Remote Desktop. I'll double click on it, type in my password, okay, and now I'm connected using Microsoft Remote Desktop. So let's see whether this offers any better performance. It doesn't. And apparently there was an error with Adobe. Okay. Let's see whether YouTube works any better. Now, for you guys thinking that this might be my connection, I actually cloud game from the same room I'm in, and I have full Wi-Fi strength, and it works perfectly fine. So this doesn't seem to be something related to my connection. In fact, I can go ahead and check the performance monitor here, which itself is taking a while to load. And as you can see here, we are apparently at 100% CPU usage, which, I mean, the only thing I'm doing right now is, okay, fair enough, I'm installing Photoshop, But I mean, seriously, 100% usage? Okay, it's varying now. Let's load Task Manager here. Yeah, and as you can see, we are pegged at 100% disk or CPU usage. Although it's varying a lot. Okay, fair enough. So that Adobe installer really is slowing things down, as you can see. If we look at the performance graphs, you'll see that I'm okay for RAM. Hard disk activity is very high as well. So either this Adobe installer really is destroying the system, or the system itself is a bit crap. I'm gonna wait for the installation to complete and see how things work after that. Okay, so Photoshop has installed, so there should absolutely be nothing going on now. So let's take a look at that performance monitor again. And as you can see, after the installation has finished, CPU utilization has gone down. And if we look at our processes here, sorting by CPU, basically Task Manager itself, which is taking up the most CPU. So let's go ahead and close that as well. Okay, so let's try a YouTube video now. Okay, so I'm gonna go to YouTube. Oh yeah, this looks much better. And I'm gonna click on a video and see what happens. Okay, so I have sound now. That's good. However, as you can see, the frame rate of the video is still very, very poor. You can see that, yeah, it's really, really choppy here. And it's also at 480p. So again, let's take it to 1080p.
Our solar system is.
Let's also try taking it to cinematic mode.
And not just at the speed of light either. We're talking about ludicrous speed. But some researchers have designed...
Let's go full screen.
And another group of scientists are now saying a warp drive is possible. Is NASA really working?
Yeah, this is not gonna be a good video watching experience. Then again, that might be just Microsoft Remote Desktop, so it will be interesting to install Parsec on this thing and see how that performs. Okay, so in the meantime, I actually do have Photoshop installed here, so let's go ahead and open that up. Okay, so let's see how this works. Create new, let's switch to from freedom units to pixels, and blah, 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 create. Now, I'm in no way a Photoshop expert. I just want to see what kind of lag I get when I'm drawing something. So let's see. Well, I mean, that's okay. It's pretty responsive, actually. I mean, there's normally some lag anyway, but as you can see, look at my mouse cursor versus what it's drawing. But again, I think that's pretty normal on a Photoshop document. Let's try something else, like a gradient here. And yeah, okay, that's pretty speedy. So again, not the best experience in the world, but definitely serviceable. Let's just add something else here. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. So okay, this is serviceable. Now again, of course, if you're doing some professional work here, I mean, it's gonna be using up much more RAM and the performance may vary. But as far as the application goes, it feels pretty responsive. As you can see, even changing the window size works fine, maximizing it works fine, or does it? Sort of fine. You can see even, guys, when I scroll in my document, there's a lot of tearing here. So I really hope this is just Microsoft Remote Desktop and not the performance of the machine. So what I'm actually gonna do, guys, here to give it the best chance possible is I'm gonna install Parsec and see whether I get better performance with a dedicated high bandwidth streaming tool. And this is definitely something that a business user a business user could do if they're working on graphics stuff on their cloud PC. So I'm going to go ahead and get Parsec set up. Okay, so I have Parsec set up here. So now let's see what happens. I'm going to disconnect from this PC. And then I'm going to open Parsec on my Mac and connect via that. And it says the host encoder failed to initialize. Yeah, I feared this would happen. And as you can see, it says here, a low-end or cloud server GPU that does not support Parsec. So basically, the graphics card on this machine will not be able to work with Parsec, unless, of course, you have some sort of workaround for this. But I don't really think there is, because this is just the shitty graphics card that is provided by Hyper-V. So I guess it's gonna be remote desktop and no Parsec here. Okay, no worries. Let's connect back to the machine. Now I was gonna try playing a game on Steam, but honestly, with the performance I'm having, I'm not entirely convinced this is gonna work. I will, however, try playing Final Doom. At least this should work. Okay, that is really small. So yeah, that doesn't seem to be working very well. As you can see, I mean, obviously, guys, this is not the purpose of this machine. But as you can see, yeah, this is not going to be a fun experience for anyone involved. So let's go ahead and quit that. Let's try something a bit more modern. I've installed Portal here. I doubt this is gonna work, but it's worth a shot. Yeah, there we go. You're not gonna be gaming on this thing anytime soon, guys. There's just no 3D capabilities whatsoever. Now, I don't know what this is for. I mean, if you're using a remote cloud PC, then obviously your local PC isn't powerful enough to do what you're trying to do. And most of that is graphics. So if it can't be used for graphics, and even watching a YouTube video is slow, then what are you actually supposed to do on this PC? Just use Word? I mean, it sounds a bit ridiculous, honestly, unless I'm doing something totally wrong here. Let's actually use this machine for what it was intended. So I'm going to open up Word here, which you can see is pre-installed on the machine. And here we are. And I'm going to go ahead and create a document. And it says I have to sign in, but I'm not going to bother here. And the quick brown, oh, for God's sake, I really need to sign in, don't I? Oh my God, all right, fine. Okay, so apparently I am signed in with the techgurudemo.onmicrosoft.com account, but that doesn't actually give me an Office license. The least Microsoft could have done is thrown in an Office license with the thing, but apparently not. So I'll need to sign in with my personal account. And here I am with this issue. So the products we found in your account cannot be used to activate Office in shared computer scenarios. So as you can see, I have, so basically the problem here is that I have a personal Microsoft 365 family subscription, and this can't be used on this computer because it is shared. So I'm not even gonna be able to use Office on the thing, which is absolutely ridiculous. Let me try signing in with my work account. Maybe that will work. Okay, so I'm now signed in with my work account, and this actually worked. So basically, since this is a shared enterprise computer, you're gonna need a Microsoft 365 business subscription to use Office on it. However, at least now I got it working. So let's again go to my blank document. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. I mean, well, of course, Word is gonna work. I mean, I would be really surprised if this didn't. So for business use, yeah, this is fine. I can see it being useful. And of course, since you have your work account linked, you have access to all of your documents that you've been working on at work. Okay. I mean, even YouTube here,
Try Chris.
I'll just skip these ads here to show you. I mean, I am running this at 1080p, but as you can see, the frame rate is horrible. Okay, it keeps staring, and if I try to take it full screen, the experience just gets worse. First of all, the full screen itself takes ages, and then I'm just like, yeah. I mean, this is just a really not a good experience at all here. Now, of course, part of the appeal of the cloud PC is that you can access it from anywhere. So here I am on my iPad, and I'm going to click Add Workspace. And I'm gonna paste the workspace URL here. And next. And I'll need to sign in. And there it is. And I'll tap it. And let's see what happens. Okay, so I'll need to sign in. Okay, and here I am on my cloud PC. Now, of course, this is an iPad. So I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to use. Okay, so I can drag my finger to use as a mouse. Okay, fair enough. So let's see how it works to use something like Word. Now, of course, there is Word for the iPad directly, which again makes me wonder why you would want something like this, but okay. Let's go to a blank document, bring up a keyboard. Oh, okay, that's fair enough, I guess. It could take some getting used to, but, you know, it's really not that bad at all. Especially, I guess, if you enable the touch-friendly features as well. Okay, so yeah, this is working fine. Let's actually try, now that I have a smaller screen, let's see what YouTube looks like from here. So let's go to youtube.com. And again, we'll just open whatever. Well, that's not promising. As you can see, the playback is just as bad as on the... Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculously rubbish. As you can see, I'm gonna try to take it full screen, but I'm not expecting anything good to come out of it. Yeah. And as you can see, yeah, it really isn't made for media consumption, and it's definitely not made for media production. Okie dokie. Yeah, I think I've had enough of this. Well, that was my first experience with Windows 365, and I must say, I'm not impressed. It's basically a high latency, underpowered machine that's available in the cloud. I mean, as far as remote desktops go, you might as well have a server in your office that you connect to. And if you want better performance, you can set up a VM on Azure, AWS, or GCP with the specifications that you want for a lower price that you can shut down when you don't need, and with extended capabilities. I'm really struggling to see what the benefit of Windows 365 is. Now, it is still early days for this particular service from Microsoft, and maybe I was doing something wrong, but at one point I even connected to a wired connection and the latency was just as horrible. In my case, I'm in Malta, and the machine I got seemed to be provisioned in Ireland, which would explain some of the latency. But then again, I've had virtual machines in Germany, the UK, and even further away, and the latency was much more tolerable. And I wasn't trying to game on it, although that was something I tried, obviously, but even just watching a video on YouTube at 480p was choppy. And unless I used the remote desktop client, I didn't even get audio. Which leads me to question, who is this product for? I mean, in order to access Windows 365, you already need to have a device. And as cool as tablets are, most employees are given a laptop, and most of those laptops already run Windows. Now, the most powerful $66 a month subscription gets you 4 vCPUs, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and 128 gigs of storage. Now, those aren't particularly high specs. Any laptop you buy for your employees is probably already going to meet or exceed those specifications. Considering the average price of a laptop is $1,000, buying a laptop and using it for 15 months basically ends up costing you as much as the same time on a cloud PC. The difference is that after those 15 months, you still have the laptop, whereas for the cloud PC, you still need to keep paying $66 a month for your subscription. And that's assuming that large organizations actually pay retail prices on their laptop, which they most certainly do not. So probably the break-even point would be even sooner. Now, that's not to say that Windows 365 doesn't offer businesses some advantages. This includes allowing employees to use any device they like, but still having a separate work computer. And it also offers centralized management, so new cloud PCs can be provisioned immediately containing the software that the company needs you to have installed. You could also argue that since the data is stored in the cloud, it's not a big deal if the device is lost or stolen. Although this is also true for any laptop where the employee saves their data to OneDrive or some other cloud service. Anyway, those are my first impressions. If you're a business owner or an IT admin, I suggest you just buy a laptop. But if you're looking to reduce your company's total cost of ownership and resources, human resources, spent on maintaining the laptops, tablets, and other devices of your employees, then Windows 365 might be something you consider. Do remember, however, that there are other similarly priced alternatives such as AWS Workspaces and AppStream 2. I hope you found this video useful and that perhaps you've learned something. I certainly did, coming into this technology with zero previous knowledge. If this kind of stuff interests you, then why not give this video a like and this channel a subscribe? I've made lots of other content on both Windows and pretty much every other technology. Well, that's about it. Until the next video, thanks for watching.